I predict that Leon Kirchner is going to be a featured composer in textbooks about 20th century music history. Leon Kirchner was born in January of 1919. Being located in the Bronx, his parents easily found him a piano instructor to teach him at the early age of 4. When he was only 9 years old, his family moved to the West Coast to Los Angeles. He continued to take piano lessons and even decided to pursue a zoology degree from Los Angeles City College in 1936. At some point during his sophomore year, he heard Pierrot Lunaire by Arnold Schoenberg, causing him to contemplate changing his major. His piano instructor, Ernst Toch, encouraged him a little too well. Not only did Kirchner change his major to composition, he transferred to University of California at Los Angeles to study with Schoenberg in 1938. He managed to graduate with a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1940, moving on to the University of California at Berkeley for his master's degree. His final year at Berkeley saw him receive first place for the Prix de Paris. The problem was that this happened in 1942, when France was occupied in World War II. So instead of studying with someone famous in Europe, he took the opportunity to study with Roger Sessions in New York City. His studies got cut short as Kirchner got drafted into the Army Infantry in 1943, where he served until 1946. He still wanted to continue his studies with Sessions, but Sessions had been offered a position at Berkeley, so Kirchner followed him there. Following in Sessions' footsteps, he received 2 consecutive Guggenheim Fellowships in 1948 and 1949. Later in 1949, Kirchner wrote his first critically acclaimed composition. His first string quartet was nationally recognized, and he received the New York City Critics Circle Prize for an outstanding chamber work, despite writing it in California. This directly led him to being offered a position at the University of Southern California. In a span of only 4 years, Kirchner managed to get promoted to full professorship status. While he was at USC, he received the Nomberg Recording Award for his composition Symphonia. Additionally, he got a grant for the National Institute of Arts and Letters in 1951. In 1954, he was offered a position at Mills College in Oakland, California, having been recommended by the legend Igor Stravinsky. Somehow, he managed to be invited to teach at the University of Buffalo as well. In 1958, his second string quartet was composed. Despite being in a completely different style from the first one, the second was just as successful. In 1960, he was again awarded with the New York City Critics Circle Prize for Best Chamber Work for his string quartet. This helped propel him to the Ivy League. He taught at Harvard for 28 years, starting in 1961. While there, Kirchner continued to receive recognition. In 1962, he was elected into the National Institute of Arts and Letters. In 1963, he was elected into the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. Then in 1965, he was commissioned by the Nomberg Foundation to compose another string quartet. So he obliged, writing it in 1966. Now this one was not just as successful as the first two. It was in fact more successful than the first two, and in a third different style. His third string quartet is significant because it is the first composition with electronics to be seriously considered for the Pulitzer Prize, and it won. Music critic Paul Hume, a member of the committee in 1967, said that Mr. Kirchner's combining of live and electronic music media was by far the most distinguished marriage of any such attempts he had ever heard. About the same time he was receiving all this attention, he began composing his only opera, Lily. He spent a lot of time trying to perfect the composition, finally finishing a decade later in 1977. Part of the long composition cycle was created by the increasing number of commissions he was receiving. In 1974, he received 2 more fellowships. He received a fellowship from the Center for Advanced Study of Behavioral Sciences and a fellowship from the American Rome Prize. It is finally at this point in Kirchner's career when he slows down. In 1983, at the age of 64, he takes responsibilities from Roger Sessions of teaching part-time at Juilliard. In 1989, he fully retired from Harvard, only working 2 days a month at Juilliard. The final award he won was the Friedheim Award in 1994 for his composition, Music for Cello and Orchestra. However, this was not without controversy. Toward the later years, Kirchner began borrowing material from earlier pieces. Some individuals claimed that he was running out of ideas or taking it easy because he was repeating materials. He defended himself, stating that Bach borrowed from himself all of the time, saving him time. So why couldn't he? Regardless of wanting to save time or running out of ideas, Kirchner was still a phenomenal composer. He continued to write until the year before his death when he completed his final work. At the age of 90, he passed away in 2009. After observing the life of Leon Kirchner, it can be seen that throughout his life, he was very dedicated to his craft. He constantly compared his music and the music of his students to the great masters of the past. With that in mind, it is very clear why his music was so consistently good. One of his students, John Adams, had this to say about Kirchner's approach to composing. I got the feeling that composing was meant to be a painful activity, a ferocious wrestling match with inner demons. Kirchner influenced many composers during his lifetime. However, his class about chamber music performance had the longest impact on today's music. James Buswell, Lian Chang, and Yo-Yo Ma all took this course with Kirchner. Chang stated in a meeting of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, a Kirchner class always involved a complete dissection of the score, not only analyzing its structure, but attempting to understand and interpret the composer's meaning behind the notes. It is for all of these reasons that I would like to stake my claim that Leon Kirchner is going to be a featured composer in the textbooks of 20th century music history. If any composer has enough accolades and a big enough reputation to get into that book, it must be Leon Kirchner. You can check out String Quartet number 3 for yourself by visiting my website in the description. If you'd like to see more from my Pulitzer Spotlight series, like and subscribe for weekly content.